Dr. Kim Hana walked into the xenobiology lab like she did every morning for the past 3 years. Her favorite coffee mug was warm in her hands, steam rising from the dark liquid inside. She loved this quiet time before the day started, when she could enjoy her coffee and review the research notes from yesterday. But today was different. Today they had a special visitor. Velnara stood near the observation window, her tall figure catching the morning light. She was beautiful in an otherworldly way, with silver scales that covered her arms and face like natural armor. Her people, the Chilon, had traveled from a star system so far away that their sun looked like just another dot in Earth's night sky. Hana smiled and lifted her mug to take her first sip of the day. That's when everything went wrong. Velnara's large dark eyes went wide with horror. Her silver scales began to shimmer and change color, shifting from calm blue to bright red. She stumbled backward, almost knocking over a table full of research equipment. "Stop!" Velnara screamed, her voice coming out in strange clicks and whistles before her translator caught up. "You're drinking poison." Hana froze with the mug halfway to her lips. Coffee dripped from her chin where she had already taken a small sip. "What did you say?" "Poison, deadly poison." Velnara's translator was working overtime, crackling with static as it tried to keep up with her rapid speech. "Why are you trying to kill yourself?" Hana looked down at her coffee mug, then back at the panicking alien. This is just coffee. I drink it every morning." "Every morning." Velnara's scales turned an even deeper shade of red. "You poison yourself every single day." "It's not poison," Hana said slowly, trying to stay calm. "It's coffee. Humans drink it to wake up. It gives us energy." But Velnara wasn't listening. She was backing toward the emergency communication panel on the wall, her movements quick and jerky like a scared animal. Her long fingers were already reaching for the red button that would connect her directly to the Galactic Council. "Wait, please don't," Hana started to say, but it was too late. Velnara's hand slammed down on the emergency button. Alarms began to sound throughout the building, and red lights flashed in the hallway outside the lab. "Emergency! Emergency!" Velnara spoke rapidly into the communicator. "The humans are poisoning themselves. They're drinking industrial toxins every morning. Send help immediately." Hana set her coffee mug down on the nearest table and held up her hands. "Velnara, please let me explain. This isn't poison. Watch." She picked up the mug again and took another sip. Velnara screamed and covered her eyes with her scaled hands. "Don't do it. Please, I can't watch you die." "I'm not dying," Hana said, feeling completely lost. "Look, I'm perfectly fine. Humans have been drinking coffee for hundreds of years." "Hundreds of years," Velnara peeked through her fingers. "Your entire species has been slowly poisoning itself for centuries," the emergency communicator crackled. "To life." "This is Galactic Health Authority Station 7. Please confirm the nature of the emergency." Velnara spoke quickly into the device. "The human species appears to have developed a death ritual. They consume toxic substances every morning. I'm watching one do it right now." Hana sank into a chair, still holding her coffee. She had a feeling this was going to be a very long day. Within an hour of Velnara's emergency call, the entire diplomatic district was in chaos. Ambassador Park Ji-ho was enjoying his own morning coffee when his communication device started beeping like crazy. He looked at the screen and saw 12 different incoming calls, all marked as urgent. The first call came from the Zenthari Empire. Their ambassador's voice was shaking with worry. "Park Ji-ho, we just received disturbing news about your species. Is it true that humans drink poison every morning?" Before Ji-ho could answer, another call came in. This time, it was from the Aquatic Federation. "Ambassador Park, our scientists are analyzing reports that humans consume deadly chemicals as part of their daily routine. We're very concerned." Ji-ho's coffee grew cold as he tried to handle call after call. The Crystalline Collective wanted to know if Earth needed medical assistance. The desert clans offered to send their best healers. Even the usually quiet tree people from the Gamma sector called to express their shock. "Please, everyone, let me explain," Ji-ho said during a hastily arranged video conference with all 12 species. "There's been a misunderstanding. Coffee isn't poison to humans, but the damage was already done." Velnara had sent detailed reports to every major galactic government. She had included chemical analysis of the coffee, showing all the compounds that would be deadly to most alien species. To them, it looked like humans were slowly killing themselves one cup at a time. Dr. Kang Min-soo from the Galactic Health Research Center called Jiho directly. "Ambassador, we've reviewed the chemical composition of this coffee substance. The alkaloid levels alone should have killed your entire species centuries ago. How are you still alive?" "Because we're not most species," Jiho tried to explain. "Humans process caffeine differently. It actually helps us think better and stay awake." "Stay awake?" Dr. Kang sounded confused. "You mean this poison prevents sleep? That's even worse. Sleep deprivation is how the Morlock Empire used to torture prisoners." Back at the xenobiology lab, Hana found herself surrounded by alien medical experts who had arrived to study her. They pointed strange scanning devices at her while she sat there holding her coffee mug, which had now become the most famous piece of evidence in galactic history. "Don't drink any more of it," pleaded Dr. Yelm from the Healers Guild. "We can help you recover from whatever addiction this poison has caused." "I'm not addicted," Hana said for the 100th time that day. "Well, maybe a little, but not in a bad way." The alien doctors looked at each other with concern. To them, Hana had just admitted to being addicted to what they considered a lethal substance. Meanwhile, news of the human poison crisis was spreading across the galaxy. Meetings were being called. Medical ships were being prepared to rush to Earth's aid. Some species were even discussing whether humans should be quarantined to prevent them from accidentally poisoning other species. Ambassador Park Jiho received a call from the Galactic Council's highest authority. "Ambassador Park, we're prepared to declare a medical emergency for your entire species. We're sending our best doctors and scientists to help cure this mass poisoning that has affected your people." Jiho looked at his own coffee mug sitting on his desk. Such a simple thing, yet it was about to cause the biggest diplomatic crisis in galactic history. He took a sip and sighed. This was definitely going to require more than one cup of coffee to sort out. The intercom in his office buzzed. "Sir, we have 17 more species calling about the coffee situation. What should I tell them?" "Tell them," Jiho said slowly, "that humanity appreciates their concern, but we're going to need to schedule a very long meeting to explain this." Dr. Lee Min-ho had always been proud of his work at the Galactic Research Institute. As one of the few humans working alongside alien scientists, he thought he understood how different species viewed each other, but nothing prepared him for what happened when Velnara asked him to join her emergency research team. "Minho," Velnara said, her silver scales still showing traces of red from her earlier panic, "I need your help to save your species. We must analyze this poison your people consume." Minho looked at the coffee sample sitting in the sterile container. It was just regular coffee from the lab's break room, but Velnara was treating it like it contained deadly plague germs. "Velnara, I really think there's been a mistake," Minho said gently. "Coffee isn't dangerous to humans." "That's exactly what someone suffering from poison addiction would say," replied Dr. Zethkar, a tall, insect-like scientist who had flown in from the hive worlds. His compound eyes reflected the lab lights as he prepared the quantum microscope. "Your judgment is clearly affected by the toxins." Minho watched as they placed a single drop of coffee under the most powerful microscope in the galaxy. The machine hummed to life, breaking down every molecule and displaying the results on a huge screen. What they saw made every alien in the room step backward in horror. "By the ancient stars," whispered Dr. Velnara, "look at these chemical compounds. This single drop contains enough alkaloids to kill a Zenthari elephant." The screen showed caffeine, molecules spinning in three-dimensional models. To human eyes, it would have looked like a normal chemical analysis. But to the alien scientists, it looked like a recipe for mass destruction. Dr. Zethkar's antennae twitched nervously. The nitrogen compounds alone should cause immediate heart failure in most species. And this caffeine substance appears to be a powerful neurotoxin. "But it doesn't affect humans that way," Minho tried to explain. "We actually like how it makes us feel. It helps us stay alert and focused." Velnara turned to him with what he was learning to recognize as her concerned expression. "Minho, listen, To yourself. You're describing the symptoms of advanced poisoning. Increased heart rate, elevated alertness, inability to rest naturally. Your species has been slowly dying for centuries. The other scientists nodded in agreement. Dr. Yurval from the Crystal Communes added, "This explains so much about human behavior. Your species' rapid expansion across the galaxy, your high energy levels, your constant need for activity. You're not naturally aggressive. You're suffering from chronic stimulant poisoning." Minho felt like he was in some kind of weird dream. "So you think coffee is why humans explore space?" Of course, Velnara's scales brightened with excitement, as she believed she was solving a great mystery. Think about it. Most species take thousands of years to develop space travel. Humans did it in just a few centuries. Most species explore one or two nearby systems. Humans have spread to dozens of worlds in just a few generations. Dr. Zethkar was taking notes rapidly. "This poison has turned your entire species into hyperactive expansion machines. It's actually quite clever in a terrifying way." "It's not clever," Minho said, getting frustrated. "It's just coffee. We drink it because we like it." "Addiction always feels like choice," Velnara said sadly. "The poison has convinced your brain that you enjoy consuming it. Meanwhile, it's pushing your species to achieve impossible things at an impossible pace." She pulled up a galactic map showing human colonies spreading across multiple star systems. "Look at this expansion pattern. No naturally healthy species moves this fast. This is the behavior of organisms driven by chemical stimulation." Minho stared at the map. When she put it that way, human expansion did look pretty crazy compared to other species. Most aliens took their time, carefully planning each new colony. Over decades or centuries, humans just packed up and went. "We need to save them," Velnara announced to the room, "before this poison addiction destroys the entire human race." Minho sank into a chair. This was going to be much harder to explain than he thought. Dr. Choi So-young was in the middle of her morning routine when the emergency alert came through. She had just finished her workout and was reaching for her protein shake when every screen in her apartment lit up with red warning messages. Galactic health emergency. All human colonies under partial quarantine. Report to headquarters immediately. So-young stared at the message in confusion. As the head of human medical research for the Galactic Health Authority, she should have been the first to know about any health crisis affecting humans. She grabbed her tablet and started reading the incoming reports while getting dressed, the Kai. Situation was worse than she could have imagined. Her communication device started ringing before she even made it to her car. The first call was from Captain Kim Dong-hyun on Mars Colony 7. "Dr. Choi, we have a problem." Dong-hyun's voice crackled through the speaker. "The Galactic Health Inspectors just arrived here, and they're going crazy. They found our coffee shop, and they think we're running some kind of poison distribution center." "What?" So-young almost dropped her tablet. "They think coffee is poison?" "It gets worse," Dong-hyun continued. "They also found our tea ceremony room and the energy drink vending machines. They've classified the entire colony as a chemical dependency treatment facility, and they're trying to confiscate all our beverages." Before So-young could respond, another call came in. This time it was Dr. Park Hyamin from the research station orbiting Jupiter. "So-young, please tell me you can fix this." Hyamin sounded desperate. "The alien medical team here just discovered that humans drink something called alcohol for fun. They think we're deliberately poisoning ourselves for entertainment. They've locked down our entire recreation area." So-young's day was quickly turning into a nightmare. As she drove to headquarters, more calls kept coming in. Every human colony in the galaxy was reporting the same thing. Alien health inspectors were arriving everywhere, convinced that humans were suffering from mass poisoning. The worst call came from Commander Lee Jae-sung on the outer rim colony of New Busan. "Dr. Choi, they found our traditional Korean rice wine." "Collection," Jae-sung said quietly. "The alien doctors are convinced that humans have been using alcohol to slowly destroy their brains for thousands of years. They're talking about evacuating all the children to safe worlds where they can recover from the poison exposure." So-young pulled into the headquarters parking lot and sat in her car for a moment, trying to process what was happening. Humans. were being treated like victims of some massive poisoning conspiracy, and she was the one who had to prove they weren't. Inside the building, chaos ruled. Alien scientists and doctors from dozens of different species were running around with testing equipment and sample containers. They had set up emergency medical stations and were preparing to examine every human they could find. Dr. Velnara approached her immediately. "Dr. Choi, thank goodness you're here. We need to start treatment immediately. How long has your species been consuming these toxins?" "They're not toxins," So-Young said firmly. "Coffee, tea, and alcohol are all safe for humans when consumed normally." A tall alien doctor with blue skin and 6 arms looked up from his medical scanner. "Dr. Choi, we understand this is difficult to accept. Addiction often prevents victims from recognizing their condition, but the chemical analysis is clear. These substances should have killed your species long ago." "But we're not dead," So-Young pointed out. "We're actually thriving. Human colonies are some of the most successful in the galaxy." "That's what makes this so concerning," Velnara replied. "Your species has somehow adapted to survive these poisons, but at what cost? Your people are hyperactive, aggressive, and expand across space at an unnatural rate. These are classic symptoms of chronic stimulant poisoning." So-Young realized she was facing the biggest challenge of her career. She had to prove that humanity's favorite beverages weren't slowly destroying them, while also explaining why humans seemed so different from other galactic species. "Give me 48 hours, she said. "I'll prove that humans are exactly where we're supposed to be." The alien doctors looked at each other uncertainly. Finally, Velnara nodded. 48 hours, but no more. Coffee consumption during the testing period. So-Young smiled grimly. That was going to be the hardest part of all. Dr. Kim Hana knew she had to do something drastic to help Velnara understand. The alien scientist was convinced that humans were slowly poisoning themselves, and no amount of talking seemed to change her mind. So Hana decided to show her instead of just telling her. "Come with me," Hana said early the next morning. "I want to show you something that might change how you think about coffee." Velnara's silver scales were still showing worried blue colors as they walked through the streets of Seoul. It was barely sunrise, and the city was just starting to wake up. Perfect timing for what Hana had planned. Their first stop was a small street cart where an elderly man was setting up for the day. His name was Mr. Cho, and he had been selling coffee to early morning commuters for over 20 years. When they arrived, he looked tired and moved slowly as he arranged his cups and prepared his machines. "Watch carefully," Hana whispered to Velnara as Mr. Cho poured himself a cup of coffee from his first batch of the day. Velnara's large eyes focused intently on the old man. She saw him lift the cup to his lips and take a long, slow drink. Then something amazing happened. Mr. Cho's shoulders straightened, his movements became quicker and more precise. A smile appeared on his face as he started humming a cheerful tune. "By the void winds," Velnara whispered, "he's transforming." Within minutes, customers started arriving. Office workers, students, and shop owners all lined up at Mr. Cho's cart. Hana watched Velnara's expression as she observed the same transformation happen over and over again. Tired, sluggish humans would approach the cart. They would drink their coffee. Then they would walk away looking alert, energetic, and ready to face their day. "This is impossible," Velnara muttered, taking notes on her electronic tablet. "The poison should be making them weaker, not stronger." Their next stop was a busy coffee shop in the business district. Here Velnara witnessed something even more remarkable. Groups of humans were sitting around tables, drinking coffee and having animated discussions about work projects. She watched as they solved complex problems, made important decisions, and came up with creative ideas. "In my studies," Velnara said slowly, "poison consumption usually leads to decreased mental function. But these humans appear to be thinking more clearly after drinking the substance." Hana smiled. "That's because coffee helps us think. It doesn't hurt us. It actually makes us better at our jobs." They visited 12 different coffee locations throughout the day, expensive cafes where business people held important meetings, university coffee shops where students studied for exams, hospital cafeterias where doctors grabbed quick cups between surgeries. Everywhere they went, the pattern was the same. Humans, pas coffee. Better performance. Velnara was furiously taking notes and recording everything with her scanner. "This defies everything we know about toxicology," she said. "Your species has somehow turned a deadly poison into a performance enhancer." 2. Their final stop, a 24-hour cafe near the university. They encountered something that really confused Velnara. A group of medical students were studying for their finals, and they had been drinking coffee for hours. According to alien science, they should have been dead, or at least seriously ill. Instead, they were sharp, focused, and successfully memorizing complex information about human anatomy and disease treatment. "These students are learning how to heal people," Velnara observed, "while consuming what should be a lethal substance. The contradiction is extraordinary." One of the students, a young woman named Lee Che-Young, noticed the alien visitor and approached their table. "Excuse me, are you studying human culture?" she asked politely. "I'm trying to understand your species' relationship with this coffee," Velnara replied carefully. Che-Young laughed. "Oh, coffee is essential for medical school. I probably couldn't pass my exams without it. It helps me stay awake during long study sessions and keeps my mind sharp during difficult lectures." After Che-Young returned to her studies, Velnara sat quietly for a long time thinking. Finally, she looked at Hana and said, "I need to completely revise my research. What I'm seeing here isn't poison consumption. It's something entirely different." "What would you call it?" Hana asked. Velnara thought for a moment, her scales shifting to a thoughtful purple color. "Enhancement. Your species has discovered a way to enhance your natural abilities using a substance that would harm others. This isn't poisoning. This is evolution." That night, Velnara titled her research report, "The Great Human Paradox: How One Species Turned Poison into Progress." She was beginning to understand that humans weren't trying to hurt themselves. They were making themselves better. Dr. Nam Jiwon had been working in his laboratory for 3 straight days, surviving on nothing but determination and way too much coffee. The irony wasn't lost on him that he was using the very substance everyone thought was killing humans to prove that it was actually making them stronger. His research team had gathered data from every human colony in the galaxy, and what they found was stunning. Jiwon spread the results across multiple screens in his lab, each one showing a different piece of the puzzle that was human evolution. "Look at this," he said to his assistant, Dr. Yoon Seulgi, pointing to a graph that showed human development over the past 500 years. Coffee was first introduced to human societies around the 15th century. Watch what happens to human achievement after that point. The graph showed a dramatic spike. Suddenly, humans were inventing new technologies, exploring new continents, creating art and literature at an incredible pace. The timeline matched perfectly with the spread of coffee culture across human civilizations. "It can't be a coincidence," Seulgi said, studying the data. "But how is that possible? How does drinking coffee change an entire species?" Jiwon pulled up another screen showing brain scans of humans before and after coffee consumption. "The caffeine doesn't just wake us up. It actually changes how our brains work. It increases activity in the areas responsible for focus, memory, and problem-solving." What they discovered next was even more remarkable. Jiwon's team had analyzed genetic samples from human populations that had been drinking coffee for many generations versus those that hadn't. The coffee-drinking populations showed distinct genetic adaptations. "Our livers produce more of the enzymes needed to process caffeine," Jiwon explained to Velnara, who had joined them in the lab. "Our hearts have adapted to handle the increased circulation. Even our nervous systems have changed to work better with caffeine in our bloodstream." Velnara's scales shimmered with amazement. "You mean your species has literally evolved to work with this substance?" "Exactly," Jiwon said, "and the benefits are incredible. Humans who regularly consume coffee show improved physical endurance, better reaction times, and enhanced cognitive abilities. We don't just tolerate caffeine, we've learned to use it as a biological upgrade." Dr. Park Sunho from the genetics lab joined their discussion with even more startling news. "We've found something else," he said, pulling up a comparison chart. Humans who come from coffee-drinking cultures perform better on standardized tests, have lower rates of certain diseases, and show increased creativity in problem-solving tasks. But the most amazing part, added Dr. Lee Yuna from the physiology department, is that these benefits have been passed down through generations. Children, born to parents who drink coffee, are born with enhanced abilities to process the substance and gain its benefits. Jiwon showed Velnara a video of human athletes performing before and after coffee consumption. The difference was dramatic. Their endurance increased, their focus sharpened, and their performance improved across every measured category. This explains why humans have been so successful in space exploration, Velnara said, her scientific mind putting the pieces together. You haven't been poisoning yourselves, you've been enhancing yourselves. Think about it, Jiwon said excitedly. Most species take thousands of years to develop significant evolutionary advantages. Humans did it in just a few centuries by forming a partnership with a plant compound. Dr. Kim Min-jae from the anthropology team had been studying human cultures across the galaxy. Every successful human colony has one thing in common, she reported. They all have coffee. The colonies that tried to give up coffee showed decreased productivity, higher stress levels, and slower technological development. It's not addiction, Sulgi realized. It's symbiosis. Humans and caffeine have evolved together. Velnara was quiet for a long moment, processing everything she had learned. Finally, she spoke. In all my years studying different species across the galaxy, I've never seen anything like this. Most species adapt to their environment over millions of years. Humans found a way to adapt their biology in just a few generations. And the best part, Jiwon said with a smile, is that we did it completely by accident. We just thought coffee tasted good. The research team laughed, but Velnara looked serious. This isn't just about coffee anymore. This demonstrates something extraordinary about human adaptability. If your species can turn a potential toxin into an evolutionary advantage in such a short time, what else might you be capable of? That question would keep scientists busy for decades to come. The Galactic Science Council had never held an emergency session quite like this one. Representatives from 847 different species gathered in the massive conference hall on Nexus Prime. All because of a simple brown liquid that humans enjoyed drinking every morning. Dr. Velnara stood at the center podium, her silver scales now glowing with excitement instead of fear. Behind her, enormous screens displayed the research data that was about to change everything the galaxy thought it knew about human beings. Honored colleagues, she began. 3 weeks ago, I believed. I was documenting a case of species-wide poisoning. Today I'm here to present evidence of the most remarkable evolutionary leap any of us have ever witnessed. In the audience, alien scientists from across the galaxy leaned forward in their seats. The Zenthari Empire's top researchers sat next to the Crystalline Collective's best minds. Even the normally isolated deep space nomads had sent representatives. Dr. Kethvan from the Aquatic Federation raised one of his tentacles. Dr. Velnara, surely you're not suggesting that this coffee substance is actually beneficial? I'm not suggesting it, Velnara replied. I'm proving it. She activated the first screen showing human brain scans before and after coffee consumption. What we initially identified as neurotoxic effects are actually enhanced neural pathways. Humans don't just survive caffeine exposure, they thrive because of it. A murmur of disbelief rippled through the audience. Dr. Zixithera from the Silicon Collective spoke up, but our analysis clearly showed that these alkaloid compounds should cause cellular damage in most known life forms. Most known life forms. Yes, Velnara agreed, but humans have adapted. They've formed what can only be described as a symbiotic relationship with caffeine compounds. She showed them the data comparing human performance with and without coffee. The results were staggering. Humans consuming coffee showed 23% better problem-solving abilities, 31% improved physical endurance, and 40% better focus during complex tasks. Dr. Morgeth from the Hive Worlds buzzed his wings in agitation. This is impossible. My species has been trying to enhance our cognitive abilities for over 10,000 years. You're telling us that humans accidentally discovered biological enhancement by drinking plant juice? That's exactly what I'm telling you, Velnara said. And it gets more interesting. The enhancement isn't temporary. Humans who consume coffee regularly show permanent genetic adaptations that they pass on to their children. The room erupted in discussion. Scientists were pulling out their data tablets, frantically checking their own species' research into cognitive enhancement. The Morlock Empire had spent centuries developing complex genetic modifications to improve their soldiers' reaction times. The Tree People had used advanced technology to boost their processing speeds. Meanwhile, humans had achieved better results by simply drinking coffee. Professor Yithkol from the academic consortium stood up, his crystal body reflecting the light as he spoke. Dr. Velnara, if this data is accurate, it explains the human expansion phenomenon that has puzzled us for decades. Exactly, Velnara nodded. We've been wondering how humans spread across the galaxy so quickly, how they adapt to new environments so easily, how they solve problems that stump other species. The answer was in their coffee cups all along. Dr. Velsara from the Medical Alliance looked troubled. But this raises serious questions. If humans can accidentally evolve biological enhancements, what does that mean for the rest of us? Are we falling behind? The question hung in the air like a challenge. Around the room, representatives from species that had dominated the galaxy for millions of years were suddenly feeling very uncomfortable. Commander Zethmar from the warrior clans voiced what many were thinking. My people have trained for generations to achieve peak physical and mental performance. Are you saying that humans surpass us simply by drinking a beverage? Velnara displayed the final set of data. Human colonies were outperforming established alien civilizations in almost every measurable category. Innovation, problem-solving, adaptation to new environments, even diplomatic success rates, all correlated with coffee consumption. The implications are staggering, she concluded. Humans haven't just discovered an enhancement substance. They've demonstrated a completely new model of rapid evolutionary adaptation. They've shown that intelligence and biology can work together to create advantages in just a few generations, instead of millions of years. The Galactic Science Council voted unanimously to reclassify coffee from harmful toxin to biological enhancement catalyst. But more importantly, they established the Human Studies Initiative, a massive research project to understand how one species had accidentally achieved what the rest of the galaxy had been trying to do for millennia. That day, humans went from being seen as reckless poison drinkers to being recognized as evolutionary pioneers. And it all started with someone's morning coffee. 6 months after the Galactic Science Council's historic meeting, the entire galaxy had gone coffee crazy. What started as a medical emergency had turned into the biggest scientific gold rush in galactic history. Dr. Kim Hanna couldn't believe what she was seeing as she walked through the new Interspecies Enhancement Research Center. Where there used to be empty lab spaces, now every room buzzed with activity, as alien scientists worked frantically to unlock the secrets of human coffee consumption. The Zenthari Empire had been the first to achieve a breakthrough. Dr. Kethris, their lead researcher, proudly showed Hannah their latest creation in Lab Section C. We call it Crystal Caf, Kethris explained, holding up a small, glowing blue crystal. My people cannot process organic compounds the way humans do, so we've created a synthetic version that resonates with our silicon-based biology. Hana watched in amazement as Kethris placed the crystal on his forehead. Within seconds, his usually slow movements became quicker and more precise. His eyes, which normally glowed with a dim light, began shining brightly. Remarkable, Kethris said, his voice more animated than Hana had ever heard it. I can feel my processing power increasing by 34%. My memory access is faster, and I'm generating new ideas at an unprecedented rate. Down the hall, the Aquatic Federation had taken a completely different approach. Dr. Morlana from their research team had developed something called flow enhancement, serum that could be dissolved directly into their water-based environment. The beauty of our system, Morlana explained, as she demonstrated in a large water tank, is that the entire community can benefit simultaneously. When we add the serum to our living spaces, Every individual experiences the cognitive enhancement. Hana watched through the transparent walls as dozens of aquatic aliens moved through the enhanced water. Their usually graceful but slow movements became more purposeful and energetic. They were communicating faster, solving puzzles quicker, and even their art seemed more creative and vibrant. But the most surprising development came from the hive worlds. The insect-like species had always been efficient, but they struggled with individual creativity and independent thinking. Dr. Ziktar showed Hana their Buzz Boost formula, which they had designed specifically to enhance individual thought processes within their collective society. For thousands of years we've relied on hive mind thinking, Ziktar explained, his antennae twitching with excitement. But after studying human coffee effects, we realized we were missing out on the power of individual innovation. He took a small dose of their formula, and Hana could immediately see the difference. Instead of the usual synchronized movements of his species, Ziktar began moving independently, coming up with his own ideas and expressing personal opinions. "This is incredible," he said. "I can think my own thoughts while still being connected to the hive. It's like having the best of both worlds." The research center had become so popular that they had to expand 3 times. Species that had never shown interest in biological enhancement were now sending their best scientists to study human dietary habits. Dr. Yilmoth from the Tree People had developed a photosynthetic version that worked with sunlight. The desert clans created a heat-activated powder that worked with their high-temperature biology. Even the energy-based plasma collective had found a way to modify their electromagnetic fields to achieve similar enhancement effects. But the real breakthrough came when Dr. Lee Jin-soo from Earth's research team made an unexpected discovery. While helping the aliens develop their coffee alternatives, he realized that humans might be able to enhance themselves even further. If different species can adapt coffee's benefits to their biology, Jin-soo explained to Hana, maybe humans can adapt other beneficial compounds from alien species to our biology. This led to the creation of the Galactic Enhancement Exchange Program. Humans shared their coffee research with alien species, and in return, alien species shared their own biological advantages with humans. The Zenthari taught humans how to improve their memory storage using crystal-based supplements. The Aquatic Federation showed humans how to enhance their physical flexibility and endurance. The Tree People shared techniques for better oxygen processing and longer lifespans. Within a year, what had started as a misunderstanding about poison had become the foundation for the greatest period of biological advancement in galactic history. Species that had evolved separately for millions of years were now learning from each other and improving together. And at the center of it all was a simple brown liquid that humans had been drinking every morning for centuries, never knowing. They were pioneering the future of galactic evolution. The coffee crisis had become the coffee revolution. Ambassador Kang Hyun-woo stood in front of the gleaming new cafe on Mars Station, barely able to believe what he was seeing. 2 years ago, coffee had nearly caused an interstellar war. Today it was about to become the symbol of galactic unity. The cafe was unlike anything ever built before. It had sections designed for every type of being imaginable. There were crystalline platforms for the Zenthari, water-filled booths for the Aquatic Federation, and even specialized electromagnetic fields for the energy-based species who had recently joined the Enhancement Research Program. "Are you ready for this?" asked Dr. Velnara, who had become the cafe's head of interspecies beverage development. Her silver scales now showed permanent golden streaks, a sign of contentment that had appeared after she started her daily coffee routine. "As ready as anyone can be for the galaxy's first universal coffee shop," Hyun-woo replied, watching the final preparations through the large viewing windows. The opening day crowd was incredible. Representatives from 47 different worlds had traveled to Mars Station for this historic moment. Some had come from star systems so far away that their journey had taken months. Dr. Kim's Hana, now the cafe's cultural advisor, greeted the first customers at the door. The Zenthari ambassador Kethris was among the first in line, his crystal body glowing with excitement. "1 crystal calf enhancement, please," he said to Velnara, who was working behind the counter with the enthusiasm of someone who had found their true calling. "Coming right up," Velnara replied, carefully placing a specially designed blue crystal into a resonance chamber. Within seconds, the crystal began glowing with the perfect frequency for Zenthari biology. This blend includes traces of rare, earth minerals from your home system, enhanced with caffeine compounds that work with your silicon-based metabolism. Kethris received his crystal and immediately placed it on his forehead. His usual slow, methodical movements became more animated, and his voice took on an excited tone. Extraordinary. I can feel my processing speed increasing. This is even better than our laboratory versions. Next in line was Commander Morlana from the Aquatic Federation. She approached the specialized water station where Velnara had prepared a tank of their enhanced serum. The flow enhancement blend today includes organic compounds from Earth's deepest ocean trenches, Velnara explained, as she carefully measured the blue liquid into Morlana's portable water environment. We've also added minerals from the tidal pools of your third moon. Morlana immersed herself in the enhanced water and immediately began moving with increased energy and focus. This is remarkable, she said through her translator. I can feel my thoughts becoming clearer and more creative. But the real star of the show was the traditional coffee section, where humans and several alien species who had adapted to consume the original brew were gathering. Dr. Lee Minho, who had been part of the original research team, was serving regular Earth coffee to a group of mixed species. This is where it all started, he said to a young hive worker, who had requested to try authentic human coffee. 2 years ago, everyone thought this would kill you. Now look at us. The hive worker carefully sipped the specially prepared low-caffeine version that had been developed for his species. His compound eyes widened with surprise. I can feel individual thoughts forming, he said in amazement. This is what independent thinking feels like. Throughout the cafe, similar scenes were playing out at every table. Species that had never interacted before were sitting together, sharing their enhancement experiences and learning about each other's cultures. The tree people were teaching the desert clans about photosynthetic meditation techniques. The energy collective was showing the crystalline species how to improve their electromagnetic resonance. Ambassador Park Jiho, who had survived the original coffee crisis, sat at a corner table with representatives from 12 different species, all of them enjoying their specialized brews while discussing a new trade agreement. You know, said Dr. Yithakul from the academic consortium, stirring his magnetically enhanced coffee substitute, 2 years ago, we thought humans were slowly poisoning themselves. Now we realize they were actually showing us the future. Velnara overheard the comment as she delivered a fresh round of enhancements to the table. The best part, she said, her scales glowing with pride, is that this is just the beginning. Every week we discover new ways that different species can benefit from biological enhancement. Coffee was just the first step. As the day continued, the cafe filled with laughter, animated discussions and the sounds of different species learning from each other. What had started as a diplomatic crisis had become the foundation for a new era of galactic cooperation. Near closing time, Dr. Kim Hanna found Hyunwoo sitting at the observation deck, looking out at the red Martian landscape while sipping his evening coffee. So, she said, joining him with her own cup, any regrets about opening the galaxy's first interspecies cafe? Hyunwoo smiled, watching as alien visitors shared their experiences and made new friendships over their specialized brews. Only one, he said. I wish we had thought of this sooner. Outside, ships from dozens of different worlds waited in orbit, their crews eager to visit the cafe that had turned a simple human habit into the galaxy's greatest diplomatic success story. The coffee revolution was complete, and the universe would never be the same.